What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You know, at this point, I would say the Lakers definitely hit an all-time low. I mean, they've had, some losses this season that are questionable. They've had some leads where they've blown 20-plus point leads to sorry teams. And they've had some games where they were down 20-plus points where they couldn't make comebacks. And they had all three players in the lineup. You got LeBron James, you got Anthony Davis, and you got Russell Westbrook. Top 75 players, all-stars, Hall of Famers, all that you can ask for on a team to help a team win. And a lot of people wants to blame Russell Westbrook for a lot of things that are going on, and rightfully so. He is a big part of the blame, but he isn't the entirety of the blame, because when you look at the Lakers as a whole, they're just not very good. And when you hear a player like LeBron James come out and say the other night when they played the Bucks, they're not on their level, they're not at that championship status, it's almost as if they shouldn't be mentioned with a team like that. You've never heard LeBron talk like that. And it's almost like LeBron has given up, and it's almost like this team spirit is down. And Frank Vogel really can't do anything to help this team, because it seems like they're just waning more and more each game you watch them. And with them being 3-4 games under 500, it really doesn't get any better from here, because the schedule is not going to get much easier. It's only going to get tougher. And like I said, you still got a second half of the season to go after the All-Star break hits. And you just have to hope that, whatever trade they can possibly make is really substantial and really an impactful one. Because if it's just for a bunch of extra role players, that could be good. But I mean, at the same time, it's not going to be more impactful than as if they got like another big name player for a Russell Westbrook. And when you think about that in its entirety, watching them last night against the Portland Trailblazers definitely lets you know they're not on the level of a Milwaukee Bucks right now. Just like LeBron said the other night, you lost to a Portland Trailblazers team without Damian Lillard, without CJ McCollum, without Norman Powell, and Robert Covington, who got traded to the Clippers, and CJ McCollum just got traded to the Pelicans. And Anthony Simons, don't get me wrong, he's a really nice young player, but he's not Damian Lillard. He's not CJ McCollum. And then Nurkic, he has a pretty good game, don't get me wrong, but he stays injured a lot, so he's never really panned out to the big man they thought they would have in him. And he has moments where he's really good. He is a solid big man. He does have talent, but those two players can't beat you when you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the floor. It's just no way possible, because you got two of the best players in the NBA, supposedly, and one of them is still playing at a very high level. And Anthony Davis has his moments where he plays at a very high level. It's not too often, but he does have moments still. And with that being said, you cannot lose to a team like the Blazers without all that star power on there. They basically are throwing this team to the wolves. They are basically hitting the reset button on the Portland Trailblazers. And Chauncey Billups is the coach there now, and he has to suffer and deal with this and trying to figure out a way to keep this team afloat. Well, last night against the Lakers, they just built some confidence, because they just beat a team with LeBron James on there and Anthony Davis. And on top of that, like I said, the Blazers don't have anybody that can contend with them. And honestly, like I said, the Lakers had the lead in this game. They looked like they had it in cruise control. But then all of a sudden, I don't know, it seemed like they just ran out of gas. And then all of a sudden, this team takes over and it goes from there. You still got decent role players. Taylor Horton-Tucker, I'm not the biggest fan of his, but he is a decent role player. He's a lot better than Dennis Smith Jr. on the Portland Trailblazers. You see what I'm saying? You still have decent role players on your side of the floor, and you still found a way to lose to a team that's really at their all-time low themselves in the Portland Trailblazers. And now you've lost 5 or 6 straight, something like that. And, it just looks really, really bad for Laker Nation. And I said this might be the worst Lakers team, and I know some of you may not agree with me, because I know you think between 2014 to 2017, the Lakers were at their low when Kobe was really not, when Kobe was really, starting to fade away in regards to, some of his talents. He was getting older, but Kobe Bryant did not have a big three also. He didn't have two other superstars as well. So, I mean, when I look at this team might arguably be the worst with all the talent that they have, and they're not even performing up to that level. First of all, for Magic Johnson to go and say in a tweet that he is speechless after the Lakers lose to a Blazers team with nobody on there, that says a lot right there. Because, I mean, first of all, Magic Johnson doesn't even speak as much as he used to. He does chime in and give his opinion on things, but he's not as heavily predicated as he was because he's not technically, working for the Lakers or anything like that as he was, or any general manager or anything. So you don't hear from him as much. But when you do hear from him, he's one of those impactful guys. Whenever he says something, it definitely has value and it definitely has meaning. So for Magic Johnson to come out and say that, just to put that out there, it tells you where this team is. This team is in shambles. And I don't know if trading Russell Westbrook is going to be the end all be all. I mean, it definitely can help the Lakers. But I mean, really, if you think about it, the Lakers' biggest problem is defense. So hypothetically, if the Lakers actually traded Russell Westbrook and got John Wall, will they be a better defensive team? No, they won't. Will they still have defensive issues? Yes, they will, because they can't guard anybody. When Carmelo's out there, when he's healthy, he is a great scorer. I mean, he still can put the ball in the basket. But what's the one thing in his career he's never had? Defense. Okay, LeBron James, way out of his prime. Definitely not a two-way player no more. Definitely can't play both ends of the court because he's too old to do so. He lags on defense. Anthony Davis, he has his moments where he blocks shots and plays like a rim protector, but he has a lot of moments where he doesn't and gets dominated by other players that make him look like a top 20 player instead of a top 10 player, which a lot of the media makes it seem like he is. And then, of course, you got Russell Westbrook, always been a top player in the NBA, has been an MVP in the league as well. But one thing he's not known for is defense. You see what I'm talking about? It's like it doesn't matter which way you turn, they're not a defensive team. And when they won the championship in the bubble, one thing they had above a lot of other teams, besides the fact that, the motivation of Kobe Bryant passing and all that on their side, they had defense. They really did. I mean, even Rondo played defense. Dwight Howard played defense. Anthony Davis was playing better defense that season specifically. And that was one of the last seasons I actually saw LeBron James actually go all in on both ends of the floor and play some defense himself. So it's like when you look at this team, trading Russell Westbrook really might not be the answer, because if they're not going to play any defense collectively as a team, it doesn't matter who they put in replace of Russell Westbrook. They're still going to be bad on defense. Teams can get anything they want when they play against them. And teams just don't fear what they bring on the floor as a competitive nature or as a competitive team. So when you think about that in its entirety, how much better will they be with or without Russell Westbrook? As I said, one player is not all the problem. It's all of them. Every single player on that court, every single player put on the Lakers jersey is a problem, because they're not playing defense collectively as a unit, and they're not finding ways to neutralize teams from getting what they want on the offensive end, where it helps the Lakers be superior and win those games. I mean, like I said, look at the Portland Trailblazers. They have nobody on the floor. Anthony Simons drops 29 points in a game where it doesn't matter if he dropped 35 points. The Lakers still should have won, because you have better talent, even though Russell Westbrook wasn't on the floor. So-called Russell Westbrook is the problem, right? So he didn't even play. So your problem last night didn't even play the game, and you still found a way to lose. And it was against a team that nobody even looks at, a team that's not even on nobody's radar. Everybody's just pretty much waiting for Dame Dollar to leave the Portland Trailblazers now, because they have nothing else there and nothing else left to give that city in regards to hope of winning anything. And it just makes the Lakers look really bad, because, like I said, you got more talent on your side of the floor, but it looks like they had the more talent on their side of the floor because they came out with a victory and you didn't. So hopefully we'll see what type of trade they make at the end of today, at the end of tonight at the trade deadline. But I'm not sure how impactful it's going to be, but we'll see what trades they can make and what moves they can make, because I mean, hey, the Lakers do have assets and the Lakers are the Lakers, but at the same time, I don't know how much they can do to help this team improve, but we'll just have to see how it goes and just see where it goes from there. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.